I don't think we've reached the red line yet. We're not anywhere near it. I give the North Koreans credit for what they've just done with that missile launch. It was the most successful missile launch they've had to date. It theoretically can range the entire United States.
Right.
But once again, the missile has never been tested in a sort of a combat trajectory. This missile basically went straight up and came straight down. It's never been tested with a warhead before. The North Koreans have yet to demonstrate that they can actually bring a missile with a warhead back in through the Earth's atmosphere and have it land anywhere near where it needs to land.
In a combat setting, which could be, that's why they did it in the dark this time. They had never done it. They've done one other one in the dark.
They've done at least one other in the dark.
Much more difficult, and they can't collect the pieces afterward in case something happens.
Well, all the pieces fell in Japan's economic zone to the extent that anybody's going to get it. We're going to get it.
They need light.
Was that on purpose or a mistake, by the way?
I think they were trying to do a little head fake on us to demonstrate that they had the capability not only to do it in daylight hours, but to do it in the day.
No, but in terms of where it landed.
Where it landed, they've done that many times.
It sounds fine, but it's not all that reassuring.
It's not all that reassuring. A lot of people had thought that the 74, 75-day pause was an indication that the North Koreans were perhaps not going to launch. Most experts that I know did not believe that for a minute. This was a sophisticated missile. It was the most capable one they've ever launched. And it took a lot of time to prepare for this launch. So the reason for the pause was not that they were getting ready for diplomacy. They were getting ready for a launch.
We've only shot one down at night, right? We don't know if we can shoot them down at night, or do we?
Well, we have certain capabilities as they approach the United States, airspace. If they were directed at Japan as opposed to over Japan or short of Japan, we would have certain capabilities.
But you can do it at night. You have a high degree of confidence.
Yes.
So if they
daytime, nighttime, it doesn't.
If they were ever to launch one, they only got one chance to do this, don't they? And then if we shot it, we'd
if you're talking about a launch directed at the United States or directed at one of our allies,
you have a high degree of confidence we could thwart.
If it's one missile, despite the fact that our missile defense systems are not perfect, I think we have a very, very good chance of hitting
it. And then all hell would break.
But why wouldn't they do that and launch multiple things at the same time?
They would probably want to launch multiple things. But let's hold back off here a second.
Right.
This is a country that is not bent on national suicide. This is a country that, despite their eccentricities, is rational. They understand that an attack or a threat or preparation for an attack on the United States, our bases, or our allies will lead to a response by the United States and will put North Korea out of business in the most fundamental sense of that word.
So what's the end game?
We're not there yet. Where we are right now is there's an absolute requirement, in my view, to ratchet up sanctions to an unprecedented level. That's the track that we're on. More and more people, though, are inclined to say that there's no way we're going to stop this, and we need to figure out a way to live with it and manage it and deal with it.
If you were an investor and you saw the market dip briefly, but then, part because of the tax reform plan, at least looking like it was going to be real, things came back. Would this be part of any of your calculus?
I think over the next several months it would probably be part of the calculus. But let's keep a look at what's going on in the Korean market. The Koreans have been on the front lines facing these threats on a daily basis. You don't see people running for the exits in South Korea. There's a level of confidence that they have in their own military and our military and the credibility of our deterrent and our ability to manage this and control it and hopefully resolve this issue successfully.
Do we get pessimistic about China's ability to do anything for us?
I've long been pessimistic about China's ability to do it.
More pessimistic now because they just sent a high-ranking official over.
Who got dissed in a big way by the North Koreans, and that was also predictable.
So why don't they cut off the oil supplies?
China is very much conflicted on this. The biggest nightmare for China is not a nuclear-armed North Korea. It's chaos on their border. So the idea of applying overwhelming economic sanctions and bringing about the collapse of the North Korean regime, that's China's nightmare. They're trying to avoid that. So when we ask them to sign on to an American-led program of maximum pressure, massive pressure, the Chinese go, well, we'll help you a bit, but we're not going to help you undo the North Korean regime because that results in our nightmare. So the Chinese are trying to have their cake and eat it too, keeping the North Korean regime alive, keeping it on life support, keeping America happy by doing a little bit more in terms of sanctions, but not so much. Exactly.
So we're really going to probably live in a world where nuclear warheads are pointed at us and we have some pointed at them. And
I hope we don't get to that point. I hope we get to the
what
point.
would stop us?
Well, I think if you take the approach that the Trump administration is taking right now to its logical conclusion, set aside the talk about war and preemption and all that, but if you ratchet up sanctions to an unprecedented level, if you get the international community on board, if you put together a global coalition of the willing to squeeze North Korea in unprecedented ways, we may yet be able to get them to blink and come back to the negotiating table and deal responsibly with the international community, and that would include getting rid of their nukes.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.